Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, you might have heard there was a little Disney Star Wars show that came out the other day called The Acolyte. And now, as usual, a lot of the time that Disney's been doing, they drop the first two episodes back to back. I, unfortunately, did watch these episodes. Although I don't think I'm quite as offended by this as I was by Ahsoka, but for completely different reasons that we'll get into when Jack and I do the review of the show. But that being said, fans are not happy. Fans are especially not happy with the opening scene of the show. So friendly FYI, if you haven't watched The Acolyte and you want to go out there and not be spoiled do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and come back to this video after you've watched it. But the fans aren't happy. Why aren't the fans happy? Because the opening scene looks like it tries to do kind of like what I always go back to is the Jurassic Park scene, right? In the first Jurassic Park movie where it's all this, everything's dark and you got these lights and they're moving through the forest and you got these hunters chasing something and they grab something and they stick it in this metal cage and all of a sudden some guy loses his arm and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? And all you see is the eyes and you hear it, you sniff and you're like, oh my God, what the hell is that? All right. And a lot of movies, television shows have tried to do it over the past, most of them to not anywhere near as good of effect. Well, The Acolyte tries to do it, and it does not go over very well at all. And it is not going over very well with the fans at all. They are voicing their opinions. They are expressing their concerns. And concerning the fact that so many of us were actually excited to see Carrie-Anne Moss as a Jedi, whether or not we were going to enjoy the show or not, seeing Carrie-Anne Moss play her stoic self as a Jedi Master is like one of the greatest ideas of what a Jedi Master should be. And, well, needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, the fans aren't happy how things went down with her character, and the creator is basically telling you, sorry, not sorry, don't care. We're going to do it my way, and we don't care what you think. So even if you don't have any issues with the show, like many of us out there do, I would imagine you probably have an issue of the way they treated Carrie-Anne Moss in the opening sequence, and guess what? You're getting talked down to by the creator, just like everybody else that's critical of this show now, too. Because ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, there's this lovely article over here from IGN. The Acolyte disappoints Star Wars fans with opening scene, but creator insists you have to go hard. Sorry, not sorry. So yes, before we get in to our dear sweet Leslie Headland, the former assistant to Harvey Weinstein, before we get into, that's probably what's killing these videos in the algorithm, truth be told, is because I keep bringing up his name. So do me a favor, make sure you leave lots of comments down below, smash that like button a million times and share it out with all your friends. Because I keep bringing up his name and I'm not going to stop bringing up his name because that's exactly what Leslie Headland needs to be reminded about, that she was that's what everyone needs to be reminded about, that she is the former assistant to Harvey Weinstein. But that being said, she decides instead to check out the criticism and respond to it properly. She decides to, no, I'm not sorry. Get over yourself. So what kind of criticism has she been getting? Because it's not just the general criticism that a lot of people talk about, right? This is a lot of criticism that specifically is carried towards Carrie-Anne Moss and her character and how excited everybody was to see it, because you saw the trailers, right? You saw how predominantly she was put out in the trailer. You really were made to think, and color us shocked there. It was another bait and switch with the Walt Disney Company, that you thought she was going to be a major player in the show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, spoiler warning for The Acolyte. If for some reason you're actually interested in watching that abysmal dumpster fire and you don't have to do this for a living, it was bad. I'll describe the opening fight scene. We don't even need to get into the article because they're going to describe it too, but I'm just going to tell you what happened because I watched it. All right. So this is what happens. And I want to get down in here and quote the exact line because this line is just, it's retarded. Like, there's just no other word for it. This is like the dumbest come at me, bro line I have ever seen. I have ever heard. It was so cringe. I have had so many people tell me that it was so cringe that they literally wanted to turn it off within the first 10 to 15 minutes. Because this opening scene was just so cringe. I can say at least the cringe goes away a little bit less going on, but this is what happens. So Maya walks into this bar, cantina scene, color a shock there. Oh, so original Disney Star Wars, another cantina scene. So she walks in there. May walks in, which you don't know who May is yet, but you find out pretty fast. So the spoiler of it's her twin wasn't that much of a spoiler. There's two sisters, they're twins, yada, yada, yada. Oh, weird. Twins in Star Wars. Where have we seen that before? I don't know. It's almost like Disney Star Wars has no original ideas left whatsoever. And that's not even to get into the Force foo. So Maya walks directly up to the table that Carrie-Anne Moss is sitting at with all the rest of her friends around here, having a meal, doing whatever, chit-chatting, walks up to her and is like, attack me with all your strength. And she even does this stupid like little Matrix move. She's like, oh, attack me with all your strength. And it's so stupid. It is so crazy. It is so cringy. It is so cheesy. It is just stupid. And after that, a stupid little battle ensues. You know, Carrie-Anne Moss tries to tell her Jedis don't attack people, yada, yada, yada. Her character goes, yes, they do. This stupid little fight ensues. It's basically a ripoff of the exact same fight between Neo in the Matrix and I can't remember his name, but he was the Oracle's little helper, the Asian guy with all the kung fu stuff. It was a really cool scene. It literally looks like a scene that was legitimately ripped right off of there. I mean, they jump up onto higher levels. They're jumping down over things. They're using force powers, you know, and literally Carrie-Anne Moss, the person that a lot of people were excited to see in the show, see as a Jedi, dies within like the first 10 minutes of the show and literally goes out like a punk. Okay, doesn't even go out with some like epic lightsaber duel. No. The villain, May, goes to throw her one of her little daggers because that's all she's using against this Jedi, this master Jedi. Okay, this Jedi master. She's using these little metal daggers to go up against her. Throws a dagger down at the bartender. And so Carrie-Anne Moss's character uses her force powers to stop the dagger from going into the bartender, right? And then May's character uses that as a distraction to throw a dagger straight into Carrie-Anne Moss's heart, right there. Now, given these daggers aren't very big, tips up probably about this big, you know, a little bit bigger than my, you know. So that's how I can tell. But like legitimately, we've seen people survive lightsaber stabs to the abdomen and chest in Disney Star Wars. And Carrie-Anne Moss goes out by a little dagger to the heart, thrown by someone who is clearly not her match in any way, shape, or form as far as skill level. So needless to say, the fans weren't happy and they reacted. So let's check out their reactions. Why y'all make Carrie-Anne Moss get out of bed if you're just going to waste her like that? Facts. I agree. Cannot believe that Disney suckered me into watching this show by telling me Carrie-Anne Moss would be in it and then she dies fewer than 5 minutes in. I swear, if you hyped up a Carrie-Anne Moss Jedi only for her role to be that small, I'm a force choke someone. So, just so I'm clear, Carrie-Anne Moss features prominently in the teasers and commercials for the Acolyte. And she's just dead in the first 2 minutes of the show. If she doesn't come back as some kind of ass-kicking force ghost, I'm going to be pissed. The Acolyte is so unserious. How do you get Carrie-Anne Moss for only one episode after using her for the promo this entire time? Sick. I'm sick. The Acolyte seems like it's off to a good start, but I am miffed that they only got about 15 minutes of Carrie-Anne Moss as the Jedi. The trailers made it seem like she'd have a major, pretty role in the show. Carrie-Anne Moss in and out. So how did our dear, sweet Leslie Headland, who has so much faith in her show that she can't handle a little criticism, how does she react? What did she respond? Well, Headland told Games Radar that as brutal as it was essential for the show to throw down the gauntlet and highlight the threats faced by the Jedi. From a filmmaker's perspective, I felt like with a cold open, especially with a new story, you just have to go hard. You have to say the Jedi are going to take some L's. You're not going to know who the good guys and the bad guys are, and it's going to feel very visceral. Oh, color of shock there. We're going to have lines of gray between the good guys and the bad guys. So original, Leslie Headland. Wow. Amazing. I didn't expect anything like that. I mean, give me a break. Because here's the dumb part, right? So here we go. Even if you already know it's going to happen, it doesn't have to be a big gotcha moment. It just has to be a moment where the emotional and the physical, meaning the fights, melt together. Carrie-Anne, not just being an action legend, is also a phenomenal actress. She has to be able to play all those beats within the fight, as well as, of course, her death scene. Now, here's the funny part about the story. This little acolyte, this little not Sith, bad, evil Force user, is as, spoiler alert, for Jedi to go out there and kill. You could have started with any other Jedi, but you decided to start with Carrie-Anne Moss's specific character, who was highly promoted in all of the marketing material. Once again, the Walt Disney Company, just like everything else over at Disney Star Wars, is a bait and switch. They told you we're going to have this incredible actress, this incredible action star, Carrie-Anne Moss, this strong, powerful woman. She's going to come in here and be a Force user, and she's going to be badass, and she's going to have all these cool fight scenes. She's going to be great. And then what happens? They kill her off after 5 minutes. Why? Because the story they actually wanted to tell, the damage and the destruction that they will actually do to the Force and for the lore and the canon of Star Wars would not have sold you on the show. That would have not pulled you in. It would have made you not even want to give it a chance because it would just been like, oh, yep, it's just more Disney Star Wars nonsense. So instead, they baited you. They blew smoke up your butt and they told you something that wasn't true. They made you believe it. And now they pulled the rug out under your feet. So fans are unhappy. And guess what? The showrunner doesn't give a shit. So guess what? All of you out there that are upset about this, keep making your voices heard. Because trust me, we hear you, we understand you, and unlike all of the weirdos over at Disney Star Wars, we respect the fans and we respect your opinions. So keep it up, keep pushing back, and by all means, if you feel jaded by this bait and switch, make your voice heard in those comment sections, make your voice heard in those ratings, and let's see how much more of an abysmal failure this bait and switch that the Acolyte absolutely can be.